This is how you generate leads for your agency. And I'm not just talking a couple leads here and there. I'm talking about as many leads as you possibly could want. I've been a digital agency owner since 2003. Today, my agency works largely without me. I work about 8 to 12 hours per year in my multi-million dollar agency. One of the main reasons that it can run without my daily involvement is because we've figured out leads. We've figured out how to take leads and turn them into closed deals. And that happens without me really touching anything today. So I'm willing to bet that if you're in a stage of growing your agency, that you probably are wondering, where is that next lead coming from? Or you think, if I just had a few more leads, or the thing that's holding me back from creating the size of agency that I want is just more people to sell my services to. And you're not alone. This is one of the biggest things that I hear inside of the agency space. In fact, when people fill out applications to work with our coaching business, probably, 8 or 9 out of 10 people will say the thing holding me back is leads. Now, I have some news for you that you may not want to hear, which is leads isn't the issue. What the real issue is that you're not turning enough of the leads that are out there into hot prospects that are asking you for help. Now, we have to understand the difference between a lead and a prospect. A lead is a top of the funnel person that may or may not be interested in your business. I mean, they're everywhere. You probably drive by hundreds of leads a week of businesses that you could help. But the thing is, none of them know you exist, and none of them have, most importantly, said, hey, I know you do a great job with websites. I know you do a great job with digital marketing and Facebook ads and email marketing. Can you help me? Okay. So what we have to understand is that in order to turn a lead into a prospect, we have to cover kind of 3 different strategies, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. But the agencies that win, right, are the ones that know how to take a cold lead and turn it into a hot prospect asking you for help. Now, we have to understand that every lead, every prospect, every client that you've ever sold has started their life as cold, right? Even the ones that were referred to you and they came in saying like, I already know what you do and I want to work with you. And can you give me a proposal for this or that? Those people also started their life as a cold lead, but they somehow got warmed up. So referral, for example, if they got referred to you, the way that they went from cold to warm to hot is the person that referred you probably said some nice things about you. They probably said, hey, I know you're looking for somebody who can build a great website and help you with your online marketing. I know exactly the person to talk to. I use them and you're going to think they're great. Now this lead went from cold to warm to hot before they even arrived at your doorstep. So I see a lot of agency owners, and honestly, maybe you even done some lead generation campaigns from some of your clients who've said kind of the same thing, that you tried doing lead gen and the leads sucked. Well, I have some news for you. There's actually a definition of leads in the dictionary, and it goes something like this. The definition of a lead is they all suck. I'm joking, but the truth is that leads, they're not very good, right? What we really want is prospects. And so when you run a Facebook ad campaign or a Google pay-per-click campaign or run ads on YouTube, the sole purpose of those campaigns oftentimes is to generate a lead. But a lead, as we've discussed, is not a prospect. And so what I see people doing is they'll spend lots of money on ads and they'll generate leads, and many of those leads end up going nowhere. So we have to reset our definition of success. That lead generation is purely to get a name, an email address, hopefully a phone number of somebody that you could be doing business with. From that point forward, it's your job to convert that lead into a prospect using some very specific strategies. But those strategies are often the ones that I see people missing out entirely. They're just hoping and praying that the ad that they run will magically just pop out somebody who's already hot and ready to go. Let's face it, the people who are seeing your ads, the people who are finding you online, they don't know you. They don't trust you. They don't like you. They don't know the work that you've done. And so how are you standing out and being different from anyone else out there? So Our job as marketers and as business owners is to recognize that all leads suck and that's okay. But once we have contact information, we then can engage in some really key things to help somebody go from that kind of cold area to where at least we're warming them up. And maybe one day they'll actually raise their hand and say, "Hey, I'm ready to talk to you. I know you do great work. Can you give me a proposal?" Like that's what we want to do. So if you are running ads right now or doing any sort of like lead generation and you're thinking it's not working for you, it's probably because you're missing those things. So let's talk about a couple key ideas that I've implemented in my agency over the years in order to take people from cold to warm to hot. Now, the first strategy is all to do with email marketing. And what I aim to do is send out weekly emails to the people who are on my list to continue to nurture them. What I do is I'll do a cadence of something that I call feed and fish, right? Feed, the idea is let's give them some value first. And then fish is let's make an offer. But too many people are treating their list like a booty call and they're just sending out offer after offer after offer. And they're wondering why people aren't actually wanting to work with them. So I'll send out a weekly email that I'll feed them, I'll feed them, I'll feed, and then I'll fish. And the ratio is typically 3 to 1. Now, depending on the size of your list and kind of how often you want to email, you could do it once a week, you could do it more often than that. But sending out emails is a quick way to build value. And this is something where, like, if you're skipping this step, you're missing an important part of building a relationship. Now, the people who get your emails, they might not even open them. But the fact that you're showing up in their inbox and you're being consistent, you're staying top of mind, I mean, you already paid likely for this lead. Why are you going to waste it? So by emailing them, this is a really easy way to stay top of mind. And what's cool is you might think that the offer emails are the ones that get people to raise their hand. They do. But many times it's the relationship building emails that you send on the other weeks that people start to realize that you're a real person. You're not just some random internet stranger. Like you're becoming more known every single time you send an email. So email marketing is massively important. Now, the second thing that I found over the years that will help a lead go from cold to warm to hot is doing virtual workshops and events. And I've done hundreds, if not thousands, of virtual presentations, inviting my list into a Zoom room where I can teach them something and give them value. One of our good friends, Steve Gosser, says, "When we teach, we win." And so, truth is, I've never been a particularly strong or good salesperson. So what I've had to get good at is teaching people and giving people value. And it's in doing that that gives other people the idea that maybe they should work with me. So I'll invite people a lot of times through email or through social media. I'll invite them into a virtual presentation that I'm doing, and I'll teach them something that makes them a better buyer of the services that I offer. So maybe I'll teach about what makes a great review and reputation or great review profile. Maybe I'll talk about the Google Business Profile and why it's one of the most underutilized tools that businesses could have access to grow their businesses. Maybe I'll talk about what makes a good website. Right now, we're talking a lot about AI and how businesses could be leveraging that. And the whole point is that I'm inviting people into a virtual space where they get to know me, they get to hear me speak, and we start to build a relationship. And at the end of those presentations, many times people are asking me for more advice. And I say, you know what? Let's go ahead and hop into a call. And now we're entering a sales conversation. All right. So that's the second way that I've been able to repeat that over and over again to build leads from cold to warm to hot. Now, the third category has everything to do with social media and one of my favorite mediums of advertising, which is ad retargeting. Now think about it. Somebody somehow, some way made their way onto your social profile. They made their way into your website. And we have a golden opportunity to put an ad back in front of those people and to put our face, our name, our company back in front of those people. There's people maybe even considering hiring you that they're not a cold lead. They're maybe a warm to hot lead that they just haven't reached out to yet. And I'll get comments from people being like, "Man, I see you everywhere online. And like, I want to do marketing like I see you doing marketing, Mike." And that's a massive compliment because what that tells me is that people are not only seeing the ads that I put out there, but they're actually recognizing that I'm an authority in the space. And so if I want a lead to go from cold to warm to hot, simply putting ads back in front of the people who are already kind of orbiting my world is an easy way to stay on top of them and really encourage them to take that next step. So these are just three simple ideas that I've used and that you can use as well to really create a relationship with the people that are currently leads, but you're trying to get them to turn into prospects. Now, this isn't a fast game, and this isn't something that happens overnight. I see many people give up on lead generation because they thought they were doing prospect generation. But it turns out if you want prospects, you have to generate the lead and then you have to engage and nurture those leads to turn them into prospects. It's really very simple when you think about it, but it's one of the categories and areas I see most people just completely ignore and forget. And they judge the value or the results of a campaign based off of how much they've spent and how many people were running with their credit cards toward them to sign up. Now, if this kind of idea is something that you think that you should implement inside your business or want to do more often, head over to our free school community. I put a link in the description. We talk about this kind of stuff, and there's tips and ideas of how you could nurture, and you can even pay attention to the kind of posts that I make in that group as a way that I'm nurturing the community around Agency Coach. Now, I have also have a couple spots open to work one-on-one with a few agencies that want my help. I put a link to my calendar below and you can check that out. So if you're looking to go from cold to warm to hot with your leads and have as many hot prospects as you could possibly want, this is the strategy you've got to implement.